I'd like to welcome you all to Challah Mega Challah 2019.
Live the best, joyful, brightest life that you possibly can. At this time, we will have a moment of silence to pray for our loved ones for blessings of health, happiness, success, and prosperity. Additionally, you can have in mind the names projected on the screen.
I want to thank all our table hosts and committee members who inspired their friends and family to join them here today. Thanks to you, we are 600 strong.
For joining us today. Have a great day.
to welcome you all to Challah Bake, Mega Challah Bake 2019. Looking around the room and seeing your tremendous response and turnout is truly an inspiration. Jewish women from all parts of our community uniting as one in prayer and in celebration. Throughout the millennia, it is the woman who has served as the unwavering source of light and hope, courage and faith, clarity and strength for the Jewish people, and indeed for the entire world. And it is as true today in 2019 as it was in the days of the very first Jewish woman, our matriarch Sarah. We're taught that for as long as Sarah lived, there were 3 miracles prominently on display in her tent. 1, the candles that she would kindle on Friday night would remain lit until the following Friday without burning out, thus keeping her tent aglow in a very warm and spiritual light. 2, there was always blessing in her dough. All hungry passerbys who showed up were satiated and content. 3, there was a protective cloud, a divine cloud that constantly hovered over her tent, providing shade in the hot desert, but moreover, symbolizing the divine presence that felt comfortable in a home because Sarah sanctified her life with Abraham with the mitzvah of mikvah. Our matriarch Sarah was consumed with 3 things: giving light, providing nourishment, and transforming her environment. The modern Jewish woman has the ability to connect to the energy of Sarah simply through continuing her legacy. We can reach our potential as Jewish women throughout the world with these 3 mitzvot: Shabbat candles, separating the challah dough, and mikvah, illuminating, nurturing, and transforming the Jewish present and the Jewish tomorrow. Women are the foundation of the home and the entire world. The Lubavitcher Rebbe, whose vision is the inspiration of today's event, would quote this to underscore the incredible potential of the Jewish woman. This morning, in this room, with 600 women, we will connect, we will unite, and we will empower. We will connect as a community from so many different backgrounds and affiliations, and we will connect with our friends and neighbors, and we will connect to the strength and the spirituality of our matriarch Sarah. We will unite with one heart and one soul. And we will take the energy and the inspiration of today's event to empower ourselves to be proud Jewish women and mothers. What is challah? Bread is a staple of the human diet and represents our earthly sustenance. Setting aside a portion of the dough and dedicating it to God, to Hashem, which is the actual challah mitzvah, is an affirmation that everything we have ultimately comes from God. The fact that we must separate the challah before we can use the rest of the dough demonstrates that our soul, our Jewish and spiritual identity, comes first and is the top priority in our lives. We get into the habit of putting God first and living a God-centered life versus a self-centered one. The separated portion called challah contains a message within its spelling. The word can be divided into 2 parts. Chol, hey. Chol means mundane, and the hey is the letter that represents God's name. Challah's very name reminds us to serve God in all our ways, even the mundane aspects of our lives, even our day-to-day lives, should be infused with the awareness of God, with purpose, and with meaning, even in our bread. This mitzvah was given especially to women because it is a woman who best demonstrates how the physical world can be elevated and transformed into a holy, spiritual, and godly world. It is a woman who feeds faith to her children from a young age and to society at large and inculcates them with an understanding and appreciation for Judaism. It is usually the woman who creates the hands-on Jewish atmosphere of the home, buying and preparing the kosher food, and organizing the celebration of the Jewish holidays. It is therefore women who perform the mitzvah of separating the challah portion, which demonstrates how God is foremost in our consciousness and expressed in our everyday activities. Women are catalysts of change. We have what to say. We have what to share. Let us raise up our voices Let us raise each other up. Women are light, and let us share our light. If you haven't yet, everybody, you can put on your aprons, and we're going to I'll demonstrate the challah making first, and then you can follow along. The recipe will be on the screens. Each of you have 4 gloves, okay? You can use 2 now, and 2 you can use for when you braid. The first ingredient in challah is the flour. And flour represents something that is the staple of Judaism. Flour is kemach. Kemach in Hebrew also symbolizes our Jewish identity, our Torah. Oh, shoot. 1 second. I'm sorry. The first thing that everybody should please pour into their bowls is the oil, okay? Next, we have the water, okay? Your cup, everybody has a cup right in front of them, okay? Fill it up all the way till the top. That will be your 7 ounces of water, okay? Next, you have an egg in a clear cup. Please check your egg for any blood spots before you pour it into your water and oil mixture. Once you have your wet ingredients mixed, please pour in the salt. Then the sugar. And 1 packet of rapid rise yeast. We are now ready to add the flour. Please do not add all your flour. Add it in gradually. And if it is sticky, then add more flour. But if it feels like good dough, then keep some flour in the container. Ladies, once the dough does not stick to the sides of your bowl, then it is a good consistency. Ladies, the dough should look like this. Ladies, everybody has a garbage bag underneath your table for all your extra trash. As soon as you're done with your dough, please take your napkin and drape it over your dough, and it will rise better that way. Please cover your challah dough with your napkin and have a seat and bring your attention to the video screens.
My husband was the most energetic person I've ever met. When we first married, I used to call him Tigger because he bounced around everywhere. And no matter how hard our lives have gotten together, if he's there with me, I can do it.
Rabbi Yitzi Hurwitz was diagnosed with ALS 5 years ago on his 41st birthday, a disease that has now left him paralyzed and unable to speak.
The milestones are always really hard on me.
Milestones like Yitzi and Dina's recent 22nd wedding anniversary.
At the end of the day, I just wanted a hug, and it's been 4.5 years since he was able to do that, and that's hard.
But their enduring love and faith keeps them going.
Rabbi Yitzi, I know what an amazing woman Dina is. How would you describe Dina?
Dina is a great woman, and it is an honor to be her husband. She is the love of my life and my best friend. With all that we are going through, she holds the family together, takes care of us, and showers us with love.
And he's part of his family's life as much as he can be.
They get to see love in his eyes and pride and laughter.
He may not be able to move or speak, but ALS didn't take his mind. With the help of cutting-edge technology, using his eyes, Rabbi Yitzi writes a weekly Bible blog and enjoys visits from rabbinical students. I caught up with the Hurwitz family on the festive holiday of Purim, often compared to Halloween.
Lots of children dressed up to cheer you up. What does this mean for you, seeing your community come to you and visit you like this, especially being homebound?
I love to have visitors. It uplifts me and gives me life. It is so humbling, and we are so grateful. Because of them, we don't feel alone.
But Rabbi Yitzi is not only receiving, he is giving, shining a light through words of wisdom and a song he wrote.
The Shine a Little Light video that was made, it's so beautiful. Rabbi Yitzi, I know you wrote this song before your diagnosis.
We knew that a song was being made, but we didn't know how much love was being put into it. That was a surprise, and that made us feel so loved.
Every person has a little light that they can use to impact the world, but when we're all together, it can become something so amazing. I've heard people tell me that that's the song that got them through the cancer ward. That song saved their lives, and he's really making an impact.
And Dina is too.
She, his wife, has uplifted the hearts and souls of so many people. So in a sense, through his terrible adversity and difficulties, he's brought faith to thousands, if not millions of others.
But ALS has robbed Dina and their 7 children of so much.
My son one day comes over to me and he says, I feel like we lost a father and the world got a hero. He says, I know the world needs a hero, but we also need a father. And I just hugged him and cried.
ALS is a very difficult disease. Rabbi Yitzi, how do you stay so positive, and does this ever test your faith?
What keeps me going is the realization that God is real, that He has a plan for the world, and I am part of it. When you see it this way, instead of feeling down when you are in a challenging situation, you are filled with a sense of purpose, and you are lifted up.
Your faith is tested as well, I imagine. I'm always talking to God. Sometimes it's an exasperated, what do you want from me? And sometimes it's, wow, this is an amazing life that we get to live. And he encourages people to do good and be good all over the world. But I imagine perhaps his message is even more spiritual and has had greater impact. Absolutely, and messages of hope to keep going, that God is with you in your struggles.
It has strengthened both of our faith. He's really my entire world, and as long as he's in it, my world is a good place.
It's really a pleasure to be here with you today.
I want to share with you a couple of things that we have learned in our family. I've learned as a woman, as a mother, through this special journey that we're on, that I think is useful for a lot of people. My mom used to have this saying, learn from the mistakes of others. You'll never live long enough to make them all yourself. So here we get to learn from other people's challenges, so hopefully you don't have to go through them yourself. So when Yitzi was diagnosed with ALS, as you saw in the video, it was his 41st birthday, and they gave us at that time 1.5 years for him to live. It's been 6.5 years, and he is doing amazing. It's been a challenging life. It's been a special life. We married off a daughter last summer, and our youngest son is having his bar mitzvah September 1st. So there's a lot that he gets to take part of that we never imagined he would be here for. But I do want to share with you a couple of tools that I picked up along the way. Yitzi by nature is a very happy person. Yitzi, my husband. And I by nature am just normal. Which next to him I thought was a pessimist, but turns out it's just normal. And he always was getting me books like on happiness, because it's important to be happy, of course. And I always told him, look, I know how important it is. I just don't know where the button is. Like, how do you turn on happiness, right? And it was something that I always admired. I met him, I saw him first when I was 14, and that was the first thing that I saw was his joy and his happiness. And it was something that I struggled with a lot. I think as moms, we worry about a lot of things that perhaps dads don't worry about. We don't sleep so well. And it all adds to it. But then he got sick, and I thought, we have such a short time left. What kind of time is it going to be? Is it going to be worthwhile time? Is there a way to make happy memories with the kids? Is it going to be time that he would enjoy, that he would be proud of me? And for me, that was really like the switch. The switch was I didn't have another choice. I could sit in my closet and cry, or we can actually live. And deciding to be happy is a little bit like deciding to lose weight. Nothing happens. You have to make changes in your life. And I made changes back then, and this was 6.5 years ago, and the kids have grown up since then, and life is always changing, so there's always different things that we need to change or we need to tweak a little bit. But one thing is the idea that external things can cause somebody to be internally happy is a strange thing that we expect. If we had something, if we were something, if we were skinnier, if we had a little bit more money, if we had a better job, then I would be happy. But the truth is that happiness is something that comes from the inside. And when you are happy, even if your job isn't great, you're still happy. So whatever you have in your life has like a rose-colored lens if you can understand how to approach it with joy. And I'm not saying external things don't help. Like if something is falling apart in your life, it's going to impede your happiness. Whether it's a kitchen or a marriage, it's going to cause you issues, depending on how severe it is. And there are times where buying lipstick really helps. I'm not saying don't do that. Like the small Band-Aids to give yourself a boost is really sometimes very valuable. But it's really an internal struggle towards becoming whole, even if your life feels like it's broken. So at that time, I made a few choices. Number one, I'm not going to take myself so seriously. So we all have pictures of what we're going to be like when we grow up. I had this image of somebody tall and sophisticated. And for me, it was like, that's never going to happen. It was really hard to put up an act all the time. It was exhausting. And I'm really silly, and I can be a dork. I'm very good at embarrassing my kids, and I decided to just embrace it. Not work so hard to portray this image of somebody I thought I would be.
We have a lot of music in our house. Music is really important. There are certain times of the calendar, like right now, where we don't listen to music because they're days of mourning. Music is really, really uplifting. So we have a lot of music in the house. My husband is very musical. He played guitar and sang beautifully, and 5 of the kids play guitar, and they all sing beautifully. There's piano and harmonica and a violin and drums, of course, if you didn't have a headache yet. There's a lot of music in the house. And I think this is really very helpful for us, but it might not be helpful for everybody. So you all have to find what that is in your life that actually brings joy. But most importantly, the way I relate to my kids. So sometimes as moms, we decide we need to show them who's in control. So when they want something, we are stricter than we need to be. We say no more often than we have to because we really want them to know who's in control. And I have a secret to tell you guys. We are not in control. God is in control, and He has gifted us with treasures. And we don't have to show them who's boss. We have to love them. And when they want something, I think to myself, number 1, could I afford it? Number 2, is it going to get in the way of their relationship with God or their connection to people or their character development? And if not, and I can say yes, what type of person would I be if I say no? Now, by all means, the kids are not spoiled, but things that bring them joy, things that make them happy, things that make them feel loved and understood is really important. I also have in my mind a 5-year rule. And this, I think, applies to like all of our relationships. We often argue about things, and sometimes you see families that haven't spoken in years, and when you ask them why, it's really hard to pinpoint that one thing that happened, because it doesn't make a difference in 5 years. And when we're arguing about something, I think to myself, is this going to make a difference in 5 years? Is it going to make a difference in 5 minutes? Because I would much rather have peace in my home than be right. Because I don't take myself so seriously, but I love my kids. This time of the Jewish calendar has, it's a bit of a serious time. It's right before Tisha B'Av, which is the saddest day on the Jewish calendar. A lot of tragedies happen, and during this time is when we increase our acts of love of a fellow Jew, of a fellow person. And we have this line that we all know, love your neighbor as yourself, right? This is what they call the klal gadol of the Torah, the big rule of the Torah. And we all learn this, and at this time we try extra hard to love our neighbors, but there's one part that I want to talk about right now. If you don't love yourself, you're not doing this right. And I think a lot of us have this negative voice. The most negative voice that we're ever going to hear in our life is ours, inside our head, telling us that you're not good enough. Like, you know, when you start a new diet and it's just 2 PM and you've already broken it 4 times, you know, you're never going to do it. Disappointment and failure and constantly putting ourselves down is something that we are expert in. And you cannot really love other people more than you love yourself. Because that's where you measure love, and that's where it comes from. You cannot hate yourself and think that you have an endless supply of love for other people. It just doesn't work that way. I think when Rabbi Akiva taught this verse, society was different. And in order to learn how to love other people, he said, love them the way you love yourself, because self-love was natural. It was an instinct. We were born with it. Today, our society doesn't work that way. And either it's through our upbringing or through society or just what we're born with, people don't naturally love themselves. And this is like something that I think we really have to work on, because when you show kindness to yourself, it really spills over to all the aspects of your life. What does it mean to show kindness to yourself? We all have our days, our weeks where we're doing better, we're not doing better. And we all seem to really get down in ourselves once in a while. Mostly we have emotions that are uncomfortable, especially in our society where there's all this social media. Everything looks perfect out there, but on the inside it doesn't feel perfect. So I feel so isolated because look at their pictures, they're all smiling. And they all have perfect skin and white teeth, right? It's all whitewashed. So when we feel uncomfortable emotions, not only are we feeling it, but we're also feeling isolated because everybody else seems to have it together. I think what we have to do a little bit is honor the emotions. Ask yourself what you're feeling. Are you feeling sad? Are you feeling scared? Are you angry? Are you hurt? Are you disappointed? And then ask yourself if you have a good reason to feel that way. For me, I struggle with fear a lot. And every so often, this fear just overwhelms me. And I think to myself, do I have a good reason to be afraid? Yeah, I don't want to raise my kids by myself. It terrifies me. So be afraid. Allow yourself to feel what's going on in your life. And I know that all of you think it's okay for me to do that, right? Because everybody has a lot of compassion for other people. But what about yourselves, right? When you all saw that movie, that video, you probably were moved. All I thought was how fat I am, right? That's just the way it works. We're really hard on ourselves, and we're really nice on other people. And we have to start thinking about what are the ways we would be supportive of our friends. If our friends were going through something sad, would we give them permission to be sad? And we have to do the same for us. And something really amazing happens when you do that. The emotion passes much quicker. This desperateness that you're feeling, it disappears because you've shown yourself kindness. I'm not saying it's instant. I'm just saying it's faster. It works better when we're nicer to ourselves. I want to tell you that everything I learned, honestly, I learned the hard way. I didn't have any magic tricks. I learned it when I was falling apart. Each and every time I'm falling apart, I learned something new. And every time to get up, it takes courage. And courage is something incredible, because courage doesn't feel courageous. It feels like you're about to fall apart, and you just keep doing what you're supposed to be doing. For me, my children are my great motivators. I really want them to have a good life. And as much as my son says it feels like we lost a father, we eat our meals in my husband's room. The parent-teacher conferences are in my husband's room. We have services every weekend, every holiday in my husband's room. The whole house revolves around him, and he's there. And he gets to take part in it, and he gets to speak to them, and he made pickles with my youngest son, right? He actually perhaps is there more than most people that are at work. But it's different, and we'll drive by a car, and the kids will look there, and there's a dad singing with the kids, and it'll become really quiet in the car because it hurts. It's painful. It doesn't mean that there isn't beauty in it. And one of the most amazing lessons that I learned is perhaps the difference between pain and suffering. Shortly, 5 years ago, after Rosh Hashanah, my husband was rushed to the hospital where he had a tracheostomy, which means they connected him through his neck to a ventilator, which helps him breathe. And he lost all movement in his body at that time, so all independence. And interestingly enough, your body doesn't love that. Like, you want to breathe through your mouth and nose, and when you get nervous, you want to slow down your breathing, and when a machine just breathes for you, it's really kind of shocking, and it was a really traumatic time for him and for me, and we went from having a bedroom to having a hospital room with a nurse inside of it all the time. And my husband told me after a few months I need to go away for Shabbos and be with women. And there was a beautiful women's retreat that I went to, and this woman taught me something amazing. She says, Dina, it looks like you're suffering, but you don't have to. There is a difference between pain and suffering. Pain, everybody has pain in their life. Nobody gets to avoid it. Suffering is when you have no purpose to your pain, and that is your choice. My husband's dream in life was to be a rabbi and a teacher. He never lost his goal. He never lost his mission. He tells me he got a promotion. We had this little Chabad house in a hick town in California where we had about 30 families, and now he writes and he speaks to the world. For me, everything was very different. I am very shy. My biggest fear in life is public speaking, even if it meant speaking in front of like 6 women in our community. I would wake up with a rash on my face. My husband was the talker, I was the listener, very happy at home being a mom with my kids, and everything changed. And I went from living in a little city to moving to Los Angeles, where it was more support for our family. The kids were in school at that time. 4 of them were in LA, so I wanted to be where everybody could live home and not dorm. And it was a lot of changes, and it took me a long time to find that balance. And I think this is what everybody is looking for in life. Everybody is looking for balance. Sometimes, though, we confuse balance with comfort, and the things we're comfortable, we think is what gives us balance, but really it's not the right balance. We have to balance the relationship between God and ourselves in this world, what we need to do for God and what we need to do for us. We have to balance the heaven and the earth. We have to, like, the spiritual aspects of our life and the mundane aspects of our life, and find a beautiful mesh between all of that. It's really our mission in life to find your particular light, the light that you have that nobody else in the world has, and find a way that you can shine it in your life, in your community, and in this world to make the world a brighter and warmer place. And I want to tell you, it's probably that thing that you want to do the least, like public speaking. It's not easy. But each one of us has something special to offer this world. Each one of us has a wealth of love and knowledge and compassion to give to the people around us. When Yitzi got sick, I watched him lose parts of himself month after month. It started with his mouth and his speech and his ability to eat and sing and pray, kiss the kids. And then it went to his left side of the body, so his walk was off, and then the right side of the body, and there went a lot of taking care of himself and dancing. He's an excellent dancer, and playing guitar. And I watched him lose one thing at a time. And every month he would turn to me with a shy smile and say, well, this isn't working, what are we gonna do now? And every month I would fall apart again. But he didn't. It was so interesting to me. When I meet you and I ask you who you are, most of you will tell me the things that you do. You're a mom, a wife, a sister, a daughter, a lawyer, a dancer, a teacher, an artist. I watched him lose all those things, and never for a second did he lose himself. When you walk into the room, if you've known him at all, and you take one look in his eyes, he's exactly the same person as he was. And this really taught me something amazing. There's a line that Stephen Hawking said, which I'm not a big fan of his after he boycotted Israel. It was actually one of the only days where I saw my husband depressed. Because up until then, we thought that ALS does not affect your mind. Eventually it does, because he knew that half of the equipment that he is using to keep him alive is from Israel. So I don't know how he worked that one out. I'm sure this is a Hasidic line long before Stephen Hawking said it, but he said, we are not a body with a soul. We are a soul with a body. And each one of our souls has a unique purpose. And I want to tell you something. If anybody has an excuse to sit back and not do anything, it would be my husband. His body doesn't even work. The only thing that works is his mind, his eyes, his heart. And he does not stop working, not for 1 second. We all have things we can do, and we have all the tools that we need to do these things, to change the world, to change our home, to be a happy place and a loving place. We don't need more money. We don't need to lose weight. We don't need a nicer house or a nicer car or more followers on Instagram. We just need our mind and our heart to know that we can do it, and to know that you're the only one in this world that can do what you're supposed to be doing. So I want to give all of you a blessing. We're a little bit before the Jewish New Year. I know that there's a lot on everybody's shoulders. And I know that everybody has a lot of pain in their hearts. I want to give you a blessing that you do not suffer through this pain. You find a way to turn it into light. You have community and friends to make sure that you're not going through it alone. And if and when you cry, because we all do that, you cry tears of joy, gratitude, thanking God for all the blessings, even if they're hard blessings, for all the blessings that we have in our life. We are truly the most blessed people in all of Jewish history. There's never been a generation that has as much as we do. And we still have so much pain in our hearts. It's unbelievable. But we have to do something good with it. We have to take that pain and want to make sure nobody else goes through it. We want to make sure that everybody sees the love. Never let it turn to hate. And live the best, joyful, brightest life that you possibly can. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dina Hurwitz, for your meaningful and inspiring words. My name is Fortune Touche, and this is my mom, Vivian, and my daughter, Vivian. We are about ready to say blessings over the mitzvah of taking challah. We are taught that at this time, a woman has the power to pray for anything on her mind and heart, and she has a direct channel to God. She can pray for a specific person needing recovery or any sort of blessing from Hashem. Like when we light the Shabbat candles, it is traditional to give tzedakah, charity, before we do the challah blessing. Each table has a tzedakah box and coins. Please pass them around, and each of you give a coin to tzedakah. So now, as we sit here together in front of our dough, with our mothers and grandmothers and daughters and, oh, okay, I'm gonna wait. So now, as we sit here together in front of our dough with our mothers and grandmothers and daughters and friends, let's join the millions of women who came before us, pouring out their souls and prayer over their challah dough. Think about Sarah, the first Jewish mother in her tent, woman baking secretly in cellars during the times of the Inquisition, and our great-grandmothers in their kitchen, and now us today. We are close to 600 women strong. So let's take this opportunity to share a challah meditation. It is time to invite God to our table. God, we know you can give freely with an open hand. You show us your love and kindness in so many ways. God, please grant us a speedy and full recovery to those who need it. Protect our brothers and sisters living in Israel and representing each of us. Please send blessings of parnasa, of livelihood, shalom bayit, peace in the home, peace in relationships, nachas, Jewish pride from our children, and a soulmate, those who are searching, to those who are searching. And please grant children to those who are asking. Hashem, our God, you see the power and energy in this room. May you show us only revealed good, and may you wipe away the tears from every face and usher in an era of prosperity and peace. I am now going to take a piece of challah from this large 5-pound batch of dough and recite the blessing that is found on the flexible mat in front of you. Please recite Amen when I am done. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahafrish challah. Amen. Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who has sanctified us with his commandments and commanded us to separate Challah. Hare zu Challah, meaning this is Challah. At this time, we will have a moment of silence to pray for our loved ones for blessings of health, happiness, success, and prosperity. Additionally, you can have in mind the names projected on the screens.
למנצח מזמור לדוד. יענך אדוני ביום צרה ישגבך שם אלוהי יעקב. ישלח עזרך מקודש ומציון יסדך. יזכור כל מחותיך והולדתך ידשנה סלה. ייתן לך חלבך וכל צחתך ימלא. נרננה בשועתך ובשם אלוקינו נגאל ימלא אדוני כל משאלותיך. עתה ידעתי כי הושיע אדוני משיחו יענהו משמי קדשו בגבורות ישר ימינו. אלה ברכה ואלה בסוסים, ואנחנו בשם אדוני אלוהינו נזכיר. המה קרו ונפלו, ואנחנו קמנו ונתעודד, אדוני הושיע, המלך יעננו ביום קרינו. You can turn over the cards for the prayer for deliverance. Please join me. By the author of Yeshua Yisrael. May it be your will, eternal, our God and God of our forefathers, that you bless and deliver us, our sons and daughters, and everyone for whom we pray, with a long and good life, with health, success, and wealth, with good children and peace. Deliver us from all harm, grant us long and good years and days, with a good heart to serve you in truth, joy, and every goodness. If any of us requires a cure or deliverance, deliver us speedily in health and all that is good. If any of us is distressed, God forbid, deliver us quickly, and turn our distress into joy, and fulfill all of our heartfelt desires for good. Master of all worlds, deliver us together with all of Israel, and may we be privileged to always benefit the community spiritually, physically, and with all goodness. May we have a good future in this world and in the world to come. May the words of my mouth and meditation of my heart be pleasing before you, O eternal, my rock and my redeemer.
Dear sisters, tapping into the special energy that fills this room with a tremendous feeling of unity, we will share with you a beautiful quote from the book of Psalms. Behold, how good and pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in harmony. We will sing it together. Please join in.
אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
If you can all put your arms around each other and we can do this once together, that'd be awesome.
הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
We want to share with you a song based on the teachings of Maimonides that announces our everlasting belief in the coming of Mashiach and our constant yearning for that era of peace and redemption.
אני מאמין באמונה שלמה המשיח. אני מאמין באמונה שלמה בביאת המשיח. ויפה פי שיזממיה, עם כל זה חכה לו בכל יום שיבוא. אני מאמין. ויפה פי שיזממיה, עם כל זה חכה לו בכל יום שיבוא. אני מאמין. Everyone knows this song? עושה שלום במרומיו. Everyone clap along. הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellie, and thank you, Batsheva. In your gift bags, everybody received a pushka, a charity box. Like the mitzvah of Challah, giving tzedakah to any needy cause elevates and transforms our environment for the better. The Lubavitcher Rebbe suggested making a pushka box, a tzedakah box, a permanent fixture in our homes, specifically the kitchen, the heartbeat of the home. He taught that a tzedakah box in a house redefines the entire space. It is no longer just a home, it is a center of kindness and caring. It makes it easy to drop a penny or a quarter inside each and every day. As the holy mystic, the Baal Shem Tov, taught, don't let a day go by without its own act of giving. On that note, I'd like to thank some very special people today. Please hold your applause until the very end. I want to thank all our table hosts and committee members who inspired their friends and family to join them here today. Thanks to you, we are 600 strong. I'd like to thank our co-sponsors, the Jewish Federation in the Heart of New Jersey, SBH, JCC of the Jersey Shore, and DSN. I'd like to thank volunteer Sandy Goldschmidt and her 3 granddaughters who came here yesterday and helped us set up the entire room. I want to thank all the staff at Chabad, specifically Linda, Lori Rogalski, and Raina. You've been there to help us get every last detail together. Thank you. I'd like to thank Chaiki Kalbach, my fellow shlucha, other Chabad Rebbetzin, for helping with this morning. Thank you. I want to thank Yaakov and Rabbi Yaakov and Rivki Greenberg, my fellow Chabad Rabbi and Rebbetzin, who ensured every nitty-gritty detail was ordered and prepared and set up for today. So thank you. You really made the Challah Bake the success it is. I want to thank Lynn and Sam Gindi for beautifying the room with the colors and the flowers. Thank you so much for beautifying everything that we do. I'd like to thank Zami Catering, Slices, and Uri's Fruits for all their help with today. Personally, I'd like to thank the other half of my soul. Thank you, Label. Last but certainly not least, I'd like to thank somebody who enabled the entire Mega Challah Bake to happen. Rona, you and your husband really are the foundation of most of what Chabad does, so really thank you for your generosity and your kindness. And I just have a small token of appreciation for you, so please come forward.
Okay, so now you're gonna uncover your challah bowl. We're gonna get ready to braid our challahs. This is the fun part of this morning. Under your challah bowl is a plastic mat. I want you to turn it over in front of you. We're gonna use that plastic mat upside down. And before we start, I just want to make a few quick announcements. Everyone is going to make 2 challahs. So under your table, you're going to have garbage bags for all your trash and plastics and anything that you don't need. Also, there's a box with baking pans and covers. There's 2 for each person. Everyone's going to make 2 challahs. You get 2 baking pans to put your things in. Each table will leave 1 challah on the table to be donated to the Bikur Cholim food pantry. Not the entire table is going to leave 1, just 1 per table. And the rest of you can take both home. 1 will be for you, 1 you can give to a friend. Spread the love, spread the joy. Okay, your challah dough is ready to bake. It has finished rising. Since you're going to be making 2 challahs, you can divide your dough into 2 parts. Put 1 aside. You're going to be working with 1 at a time. I'm going to show you how to braid a regular 3 braided simple challah. On the screens, I guess in a minute, they're going to show you how to braid different types. You can do a 3 braid, you can do a 4 braid. If you're feeling adventurous, you can do a 6 braid. Right now, we're just going to do a 3. So you're going to take your 1 piece of dough that you have in your hand and just pull off 2 pieces so that you're left with 3 equal parts. Roll it out into these ropes. You're going to want to get 3 ropes of equal shape and size. Rolling out your 3 ropes, you can connect them at the top like this. You should have 1 going down the 2 sides and 1 coming down the middle. I'm trying to show you over here. But you're basically going to braid it like a simple 3 braid, like you would braid a little girl's hair. You're going to go from 1 side, cross it over into the middle, back to the other side, cross it over the middle. And just going from side to side, keep crossing until you are left with a braid. When you're done with your first one, you can work on your second. You should have a challah that looks like this in a nice little braid. You can put it in the baking pans, which are under your table, to take home. In your bag, you have a booklet with more challah recipes if you'd like to try it at home. You have an egg brush, a basting brush. When you get home, you can brush your challahs with an egg wash. You can sprinkle toppings on top. If you want to put a little bit of vanilla sugar to give it a hint of sweetness, you can go with poppy seeds, sesame seeds, more traditional. Whatever it is you'd like to do, do not bake it with the covers on. You need to uncover before you put it in the oven. That's just to take it home. If you're not ready to bake it right away when you get home, you can stick it in the fridge for a few hours and bake it later today. There are parking vouchers. Whoever did not get a parking voucher can stop by the sign-in table on your way out. Make sure to pick one up on your way out. And thank you everyone for joining us today. Have a great day.